Welcome everybody to a Salesforce Devops.net presentation of how to power up SFDX-CLI with VS Code Remote SSH. I'm Vernon Keenan, your presenter, and today is June 14th, 2021, and we're recording in Oakland, California. So today we're going to have the objective of getting to the point where I can use this remote setup to do SFDX-CLI commands, pull down source code from my existing org, and then be in a position to do further org-based development from there. So to get going, we're going to use this particular development environment workstation that I set up as a virtual machine in this Windows 10 Pro computer I'm on. And you can do this too through the cool feature called Quick Create within Hyper-V. So you can go into Hyper-V and do that Quick Create and follow along. And also from the blog post and a GitHub gist, I have all of the shell commands that I'm using today. So you can definitely play along with me here. So the very first thing we're going to do is install the Fira Code Retina font. And I do that by searching for that word plus GitHub, and I come to this GitHub repository. I find this releases section, and then I download this file, and I'm going to open the file here, and then I have TTF, Fira Code Retina, the object of my desire is right here, and I'm installing it. And I'm using this font because it's a Powerline font. So if you have another Powerline font you like better, you could substitute it. But we're going to use the Powerline features in ZSH and Oh My ZSH later on. So I've installed the font. I have one more font thing to do here. So I'm going to do Settings in VS Code. Search for terminal font. And we got that in there. We got the blue line. It says it remembers it. We can make that go away. Now I'm doing Control tilde, and I've got my PowerShell prompt here, which is what I want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to SSH over to the remote server. Its name is Devops, and there's one sudo user on it right now. So I'm going to SSH with that sudo user at Devops. I'm going to acknowledge that. And I have that. So I'm logging in. That's good. And I'm just going to go to sudo -s. So I don't have to keep typing the password. I'm at a root prompt. So there's only 3 steps I need to do here. The first one is to install Java. So I'm going to do that right here. And I'm going to paste it in. And I'm going to let it go here and talk just for a second. And we need Java to run the Apex language server that's part of our VS Code installation. And this is going to take a while to go. So I'm going to pause. And we're back. So we have installed Java. We can test it by typing Java -version. That's kind of strange, but that's the way you do it. Java -version, so that's good. And then the next thing I want to do is install ZSH. So ZSH is the shell we're going to use on this for each user. And here we go. It doesn't take long, so we're going to let it go. And then the very next thing I'm going to do is add a non-privileged user. So we don't want a user with sudo capabilities to be interacting with VS Code. So we're just going to set that up. Simply here, add user Vern. Okay, I've got it in here, my password. Got just put in the name. I skip everything else, take in the defaults, and I'm done now with the root. So I'm hit Control D to exit, Control D to exit again, and now I'm back here at PowerShell. So now what we need to do is copy an SSH key from this workstation to the server. So let's create that key. I'm just going to use the plain SSH keygen command, and I'm just going to give it all defaults here. And it's stored it in the .ssh directory off of my user root for Windows. So now I am able to, well, I could have done that before, but I'm going to now SSH to Vern at Devops. Okay. So now I'm logged in as a plain old user on this account, and now I'm going to go through the setup steps on that. And this is a few steps, and we're going to go through them as fast as we can here. So the very first thing I want to do is install the omyzsh command. So it's asking me to set my default shell, and I want that. Okay. Oh, looks like I missed that. Need this one. Okay, good. So we got it installed. We have it. The change shell command was successful. To change my shell to ZSH, I need to log off and log on again now. Okay, so I'm logging in again. Still typing my password. We're going to get rid of that in a little bit. Okay, so now I got this omyzsh prompt with the tilde here. So we're going to reconfigure omyzsh now. We're going to change the theme, and I'm also going to install some plugins here. So now this changed the configuration file to add the ZSH completion plugin for Salesforce CLI, and then here we have the Wade Wagner enhancement to that. So we just installed that. So now we're did that, and look at that. We have what looks like a nice prompt here. Okay, so now I have the ZSH all fully installed. So now what I need to do is install something called Node Version Manager. And that is this little Git thing. You just hit Q when that comes up. So what this has done now is installed Node Version Manager. And in order to install SFDX-CLI, we need Node Version Manager. So we've done that. Now I can use Node Version Manager after I do my source ZSHRC. So that reloads, it simulates a re-login. And now I'm ready to install Node Version Manager, install -- the latest LTS version of LTS. So it's installing the latest LTS version of Version Manager of Node.js, which happens to be 14.17. So now we also have npm has now been installed. So now all I need to do to install SFDX-CLI is type npm install for global SFDX-CLI. Now it's going to go to the npm global directory and start downloading the many packages that Salesforce CLI needs. So we're going to pause while that happens. And we're back. So that installed an awful lot of packages. I can check that it's working now just by typing SFDX, and I should get back a something here. Good, it shows me the version and everything that I'm on. SFDX auth tab. There we go. Gives me all my auth choices there. So the autocomplete is working, all that is working, so we're in good shape for that. We're kind of ready to log off of here, but what we want to do is prepare this system to accept the keys, the SSH keys, so we can eliminate the passwords. Now I'm going through this extended procedure, by the way, because Windows does not have the SSH copy-ID command to make this thing easy that I'm setting up now. So we're setting up the keys manually here in Windows because we don't have the SSH copy ID command. If you're doing this on Mac or on Linux, you do have that command, so look into using that instead of what I'm about to do here. So what we need to do is create, I'm in the root directory, and now I need to make the .ssh directory because this is a fresh account, it doesn't have it already. And I also want in here to create a file called authorized keys because I'm going to append to that in just a minute. So I'm logging out of Devops and I'm back here on my workstation. So, and I've already created the SSH key on my user directory in this Windows workstation. So now what I just pasted in a PowerShell command that will take that key and copy it over to Vernet Devops. So hopefully that was the last time I had to enter my password. Let's test that. SSH Vernet Devops. And glory be, it works. So this is important to avoid continuous password prompts when doing SSH remote in VS Code. So we just made sure that problem was not going to happen to us. So I'm going to minimize my terminal now. I'm actually going to make it go away. We have 0 extensions installed on this particular installation here. So first what I'm going to do is VS Code remote SSH. So there we go. So this is being installed. It also installs a companion item down here for editing the configuration file. We're actually going to use that in just a little bit. The only other thing we need for Salesforce development right now is the Salesforce pack, extension pack. So we're going to install that. I'm going to click install here and hit pause again because we got 8 extensions that it's going to install. So see you in a bit. And we're back. So the Salesforce extension pack has been installed. And if we look over here, we have total of 12 extensions installed now. So we're ready to go for our first connect to the remote server. So after we installed SSH remote, this thing appeared. The green corner, lower left corner, is how you access the remote services. So I just clicked on that, and I'm going to do connect to host. And I'm going to then do add new SSH host. So I'm going to follow this pattern here that they give, SSH burn at DevOps capital A, minus capital A. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to store it in the same directory where my key is, this config, this one right here. And it says it's added. So now we're going to connect. And we go through a couple things here. You need to authorize a firewall access for your local machine. Confirm that it's Linux. And it is working. So now we have, I'm going to eliminate this window and just go to this window now. And thank you. So, and then here we have a shell prompt on DevOps on that server. Can't see this perfectly, so I'm going to change the color theme I won't go into the glitch that's causing it, but now you can see it. So that is good. So now we want to basically create our first project on this server. So to do that, SFDX is working here. And what I'm going to do is use this command right here, SFDX force project create. Project name, I'm going to call this my branch. And I also have in here the manifest option. So that'll generate an XML template of the items I want to pull down from my org. So this is good for initiating an org-based development project. So it did that. We can see a little bit more what happened here. So that's all good. So I've created a folder right here, and now if I hit open folder right here, you see there's my branch, and I am actually browsing right here on that DevOps server. So all the source code is stored on this DevOps server. So now I do OK, and I can see over here, oh, this is the new software supply chain security feature of VS Code, which we won't go into right now. And here we go, my branch, and here we have this standard Salesforce application structure right here. And I also have a thing in here, manifest, and then this are the packages that I need. So let me just go back to my terminal right here. So now what I would need to do is I have to log in to the SFDX auth device login. So this is a very critical command actually for doing remote development, is to be able to log in to SFDX without having an interactive login session pop up from the terminal. So what this does instead is it gives us a link and a code. So I'm going to click on, first I'm going to copy this code here. Then I'm going to control click into this, and it's launching Edge here. So I'm just going to paste in my code, and then I'm going to log into the org. That I want to do development on. Okay, so we did authenticator, now we allow. And now I can continue to my org, but I don't need that. I'm just going to close that. And you see login successful. You can close the browser. So we did that. So I'm logged in, and the next thing you want to do is get your source code. So we're going to do that with this command, SFDX force source retrieve, and then I'm going to use this manifest package XML list to pull down a bunch of stuff that I need. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to pause again because this is a big org. Okay, that's complete. We downloaded all of our metadata. Now, the thing I'm noticing here is I don't see the SFDX icons in my bottom icon array there. So what happened is I actually need to copy all of the plugins that I installed already to SSH Devops. So I'm going to do that by clicking on this item right here. And then that's going to select all of the extensions that can be installed on my remote server. So it's going to do that now. And we're going to pause one more time. Okay, I'm back. I've reloaded the terminal here and reloaded VS Code. And now what I need to do now is link Java on the server to the Apex language server. And it needs to know the path for that. So I'm logged on to the server right now, and if I type which Java, that gives me the path here. So I got user bin Java, that's pretty easy. And now what I need to do is go to settings, and search for Apex. I got this thing too big. Okay, I'm going to search for Apex Java. So this is my Java home. User bin Java. So that's our new location for Java. So that's good. Won't be getting any errors out of the Apex language server. So now I should be able to look at my code here. Go to Force App, Classes. Let's pick something that looks good here. Account Helper. And there we have our Java code, or our Apex code now. And let's see if I type something here and hit Control Space. There we go. So now it's actually pulling the metadata out of my org and using IntelliSense in the Apex language plugin to help me write my code. So we have accomplished our goal here of setting up a single workstation to communicate with VS Code server and using VS Code SSH to power up your Salesforce development experience. I find it lets me use older workstations and multiple workstations. If you use VS Code Settings Sync, makes your life a dream. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and looking forward to telling you more about Salesforce DevOps and the road to being a DevOps engineer. Talk to you later.